We would like to introduce Richard Flook. Richard has something like 20 years of experience in NLP, psychotherapy, metamedicine, despite the fact that he's only about 28 years old. He also lives all over the world.
I thought he was 50 years, so 50.
And he lives in Toronto in Canada. He teaches all over the world. He is the head of training of the International Metamedicine Association, and he is also a trainer of trainers of NLP. A very, very sought after and busy man who has a very interesting message for us all of how we view disease and how we can deal with disease.
Yes, and there is something I want to add to that. That is, if you happen to get a bottle of wine, what is German wine? From 1982?
They're 84.
Oh, 84. It will probably be wine which has been picked by Richard here in Germany. So,
from the Mosel region.
Mosel, yeah. Mosel wine. So,
welcome to Richard Flook.
Jane, her name's changed, came to see me via the internet. Her problem was that she had been had ovarian cancer. Now, she had had her whole womb removed, and also she had a whole chemo and no radiation. She'd had chemotherapy. But the problem after that went away, and then it came back. So she went for another bout of chemotherapy, and then it went away, and then it came back. And then the doctors said, this type of cancer we can't cure. It will keep reappearing. And the only thing that we can offer you is more chemotherapy. And that's when she came to see me. Another boy arrived on a training that I happened to be delivering in Norway. And he was type 1 diabetic, meaning he had to inject insulin. Very unpleasant. And he'd been injecting insulin since age 13. And his mother said, I don't know what we do, because he's going to have to inject insulin for the rest of his life. What do we do? So he came on a course with me, and we worked out what was going on. And then from that, a friend of mine did some therapy, a girl called B. And the therapy was successful to a degree, but he was still injecting when I met him early on this year, about 5 months ago. And then we worked out what was truly going wrong. We got something right in the first instance, and then there was something else behind which we needed to solve. And at that time I had started working with the new pharmaceuticals that you have right in front of you. Liberator, brain stem hologram, cerebellum hologram, medulla hologram, and cortex hologram. Because we couldn't find this other shock that we knew that was there. Because there's a specific reason I talk about shocks, and I'll cover that in my seminar in the training here. And so I dropped a load of Liberator into a glass with some water and said, here, drink this. And then I dropped a load of Cortex as well, and I said, here, drink this too. And I sat there and I waited about 10 minutes, and then I've got a question that comes from metamedicine, and it's all to do about resistance and shocks related to that, related to also a specific time. And out of the blue, just out of nowhere, that had been hiding just right underneath the surface, his whole body shifted and he shook. And suddenly, this massive emotion came out. Another lady came to see me, again via the internet, doing a lot of internet work, from Israel. Quite interesting. Super lady, and she is training to become a mental health coach. And she had pulmonary hypertension, which is a problem with the pulmonary arteries. And she had been clinically dead almost 10 years ago. And she was told she isn't going to live. That's quite nice, isn't it? By the way, here you are. Here's your premature death certificate. But she's still around 10 years later. And she's alive. And she is doing very well. But she wanted to know why she still had this problem. And not only why she had this problem, what she could do about it. I'd like to share with you a couple of things on my presentation, which is really about how or has the body made a mistake in creating a disease? Now, Raina came up to me earlier on today and said, I'm sure it's Raina, it may not have been, I thought it was. Yes, it was, and said, oh, the title for your presentation is, Has the Body Made a Mistake? Let me tell you something. And I went, I know. But it's the title. Has the body made a mistake in creating a disease? And hopefully you'll be able to answer that question at the end of my talk here. So first and foremost, who am I? Why am I standing here? And why would you want to listen to me? So very quickly, I'm on the board of Metamedicine, and I head up and I organize all the international trainers. And they're all the places that I've been to training: Czech Republic, Norway, UK, Spain, Germany, New Zealand, actually. I've already been there, but I'm going there again at the end of November. Australia, Canada, that's where I live, USA, Egypt, and with Savannah in Iceland. I've also got a book called Why Am I Sick? It's an interesting title. You know when you go and see your medical doctor and you say, I've got a problem. And they go, I keep coughing a lot. And they say, well, we don't know why, but here's a drug. See, someone over there has one. Have you been to the doctor recently? Did they tell you why? No. So you can buy the book from Amazon.com, and also I have 14 of them here at the conference. I'm also in the extended version of the new film on energetic medicine called The Living Matrix. Now, you've not come across that, have you? No. Has anybody got one of the boxes? They sold the last one. I wanted just to show people. Maybe I'll pick that up. I was quite pleased to see it. And I have a unique approach to healing that uses metamedicine as its basis. And I'm a developer of many new approaches to healing using metamedicine. Now, some of you may know what metamedicine is. I'm going to say this right up front. Metamedicine is not a therapy. There are no therapies whatsoever in metamedicine. It's really a thinking process. I was going to say philosophical way of thinking, but I couldn't say the word just then. So, it's lost sometimes in the translation, isn't it? So there'll be delayed laughs. And metamedicine is not a therapy, but a stress-based diagnostic system that uses medical diagnosis as its major premise to start with. Medical diagnosis. Yes, you did hear correctly. But first, what I want to talk about is a little dig at the medical profession as a whole. I think people are often scared of digging at the medical profession because they wield so much power. The medical profession polices itself. And attached to the medical profession are the pharmaceutical industry, who no one polices. They don't even police it themselves. It's very big. It's massive. And I think this poses a problem for all of us. It poses a problem because we're all sitting here looking at NES going, wow, what an incredible system. And everyone here, I'm sure we all want to tell the world about this amazing system and how we can assist people to heal. And I'm sure you all have other disciplines as well. Is this true? Well, the crazy thing about metamedicine is it can assist us to explain medically why things like NES work, things like complementary therapies work, things like alternative therapies, why they all work. Why does energetic medicine work? And more importantly, why does modern medicine work? It can explain that. And that's why I'm interested in it. Now, the original work came, or some of the basis behind metamedicine came from a doctor who I know in Germany is frowned upon by about 50% of the population, and the other 50% of the population think he's okay, and that's Dr. Gerd Hammer, who postulated that there were some things that happen inside human bodies. Now, we've taken his basic work and added loads and loads of other fantastic work to create metamedicine. Some people get confused when they look at metamedicine. They think this is just the basic Hammer stuff. I'm sorry, no way. We've gone way, way beyond what Hammer even postulated. And I think we're getting results, which I've yet to see in some of the Hammer stuff. But it's still good. The Hammer stuff is still good. Okay. And it links in with Peter Fraser's work because he was interested in what Hammer was talking about. Enough about Hammer. So, why do therapy interventions work? Metamedicine, I think, can explain that. But I want to just go a little bit into another direction, just temporarily. Why are we here? I want to postulate, I want to talk about that question. Why are we all sitting here listening to me when surely disease should have been cured by now categorically? We should not be sitting here. Full stop. Period. So much money has been pumped into the medical profession via the pharmaceutical industry. Disease should be wiped out. But why do your clients still come knocking on your door, going, I have this disease? And you say, no, go and see your doctor. No, I've seen my doctor. I still have this disease. Okay, well, we'll do something different then. We'll look at perhaps there's something else going on. And when they come across what is going on and they get well, they go, why isn't this information out there? Surely, with all this money, we should have cured multiple sclerosis. Do you know how much money is given to the charitable societies each year? It's billions, if not trillions, of euros, of dollars, of pounds, of yens. But they haven't solved irritable bowel syndrome yet. Breast cancer. Whew. Heart disease. Cancer is probably the #1 killer now. Heart disease, the second one. Breast cancer, a third one in women. Prostate cancer, on the rise in men. What about depression? You know, you get depression, it's down to the doctor. I'm going to give you a pill. Here, have these pills. They'll make you feel happy. They're strange. Eczema, backache, diarrhea. HIV and AIDS, that's an interesting one. Fascinating. Surely. Now let me, some of the best minds in the world have been working on HIV and AIDS the world over. I read actually only the other week that they'd come up with a vaccine. Great! Yeah, are you all going to take it? I tell you, the share price on that company went through the roof when they came across that. Malaria, tuberculosis, stroke, diabetes, kidney disorders, respiratory diseases, stroke, Alzheimer's, strokes twice there. That's amazing. Alzheimer's disease. Well, they should have all been cured by now. There's a war on disease. Your charity money goes into research to develop more drugs. Have you ever looked at what your charity money goes to? Have you ever looked on the websites? It all goes into drug research. It's great. Complementary, alternative, and I could put energetic medicine in there, is rarely researched. Rarely. Just look it up on the internet. You can see where they're doing their research. Since 1971, when President Nixon declared the war on cancer, trillions of dollars have been spent on this war. Trillions! You know what the therapy was in modern medicine for cancer in 1950s? Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, surgery. What are we, 60 years on now? My maths is that good, I think. Guess what the therapies are? Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and surgery. Admittedly, they've got a little bit more advanced, but the survival rate isn't any better. There's a little bit of hormone therapy, accounts for 4% of all the therapies. So, your trillions and trillions of dollars and charitable money has all gone into 4% hormone therapy. Survival rates have not got better. Survival rates have increased, but not because of better therapies. There's the paper. Are we finally winning the war on cancer? One of them, anyway. So the problem is with modern medicine looks at the body and says, right, you have done something evil and nasty, and we are going to shoot you. We're going to eradicate. We're going to destroy. We're going to cut it out, and we're going to burn it. It's a war. Because disease is a mistake from modern medicine's point of view. Do you really believe that? I talk to lay people. These are people that have not really got any medical knowledge. Just the general person on the street. And I ask them, well, they ask me, what do you do for a living? And I go, I lecture on stress and disease worldwide. And they go, oh, I've always known there's a link between stress and disease. Always. You know, lay people know this stuff. So I wonder, is there any hope? Modern medicine says, where are the double-blind clinical trials? I was sitting down with Ariel on the plane flying from London. And she said, where are the double-blind clinical trials that prove that metamedicine works? And I went, well, they're in my book. I can't remember them off the top of my head. Everything out of metamedicine can practically be explained. A couple of things I couldn't find research for, but most of it can be explained. But even someone as enlightened as Ariel had to ask that question. There are some papers that back up a lot of the theories behind metamedicine. There are some parts of metamedicine where the theories are a little bit dubious, I will admit. But I have found over time that it seems to work. But also we look at the double-blind clinical trials to prove that complementary therapies, alternative therapies, energetic medicine, which is what we are here learning or discussing. You know, Ariel said something else that was really interesting, because I said, There aren't double